morning. We are at our campsite outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And we're going to try to make our way to the Smoky Mountain National Park today. However, there are high wind warnings with downed trees and power lines possible. So the road that we wanted to go in on Cherokee is closed, apparently. And we're not even sure if we want to go into the park if there's like high wind warnings like that. Because if you can imagine these big trees falling on our van, probably not a good thing. So we're going to try to figure out what we're going to do today. Will we make it to Smoky Mountain National Park today or will we not? Stick around and find out. We got another SqWatch Dog adventure for you. So we could see some rain today. We definitely have some clouds. But the big problem today is wind. There is a high wind warning, and as a result, some areas that we wanted to go to in the national park are probably going to be closed because the main road that takes you from one end of the park to the other end is closed because of high wind warnings. They're expecting down trees, down power lines. So I'm not quite sure if we're even going to go into the park today because I think everything's kind of weak around here after that hurricane blew through. And there's definitely still a lot of trees down through this area. So this is the exit that we would have taken to go through the park because it takes you all the way through the park to Gatlinburg, which is the main entrance. But that road is closed down because of high winds today. Bummer. So now I think we're going to go all the way around, right?
I think so.
To get to Gatlinburg, the long, long way around. And hopefully we're not going to miss anything. We're doing a lot of work on this road. I wonder if it washed away during the hurricane.
See all that here.
Yeah. Look at this right here. I mean, this is looks like where the road maybe just went down into the river. Crazy because you can see all this damage and stuff with all the trees down, and I'm sure this isn't even nothing compared to what it was like right after the storm.
Yeah, that was last fall.
Yeah. I mean, you compare this to the damage that was done to that island that had that inlet outlet restaurant that we went to. And they said that they had to close down in September because of that hurricane. And then they were open by December.
Where was that?
That was over on, what was the name of the island that we had to take the toll to get to?
Oh, yeah. Boca Grande?
Yeah, Boca Grande.
That's right.
Yeah, so you look at this compared to Boca Grande. We went to that inlet at the outlet restaurant and had breakfast, and she told me that the restaurant was shut down in September because of I think it's the same hurricane. And
They got more rain up here.
they got a ton of rain up here.
This was rain caused, not wind caused.
Yeah.
I don't know what their deal was down there. Probably a little more wind.
Yeah. For sure. Those are some treacherous looking clouds ahead. While traffic through here is crawling, and I'm not quite sure why. Look where this road washed out. All of this road just washed away. They're pulling out a lot of concrete. Brad, we made it to Tennessee. They're welcoming us to Tennessee.
All right.
Add another state to our list. a lot of old buildings through here. We made it to Gatlinburg. Downtown Gatlinburg. I've always heard about this town and I've always been curious. It sure is a sweet little town, kind of nestled in the mountains. Well, I can definitely see how this is probably one of the most visited national parks in the country, because Gatlinburg itself is really packed. And now I'm nervous that at 10:30 in the morning, we're a little late to be going into the national park. What say you?
I say we go to the visitor center. It's gone this far.
All right.
It's crappy weather, so maybe not as many people are gone.
Maybe. There are a ton of people in town. This place. Ripley's, believe it or not, it's crazy here. I don't believe it, do you?
I'm speechless.
Paula Deen store. I thought Paula Deen was canceled a long time ago.
For what?
For being a racist.
I don't know. Not familiar with her.
Yeah. Gatlinburg's like a Disneyland for rednecks.
Sure looks good.
Yeah, it does. I'd hang out there for a few days. You'd hate it.
Get me out of there.
Looks like fun to me. You, on the other hand, would hate that for sure. But we finally got through Gatlinburg and made it to another national park, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Woohoo! So here I am at the visitor center and it is packed here. A lot of people. Unfortunately, a lot of the places to go to are closed because of the weather. There's high winds. So like you can't go to Klingman Dome, and there's a lot of waterfalls that you can't get to, like the grotto, all because of the weather. So we're just gonna take a drive through Cades Cove and then probably call it a day. Make our head towards Nashville. So, plus it's a little wet out. But hopefully we'll see some wildlife and some interesting things over in Cades Cove. It sounds like it's got some pretty cool historical building from the old Appalachian days when the Appalachian people lived there. So should be fun and informative. Really pretty here. I can only imagine what it's like in the fall and in the spring when the rhododendrons are blooming. Riker likes it here too, don't you, Rikey-roo? Riker wants to see what Brad is cooking. He knows he's got some salmon skin coming. Look at that, yummy, yummy salmon skin for the Rikey-roo. So we're doing the Cades Cove Loop, and we start off by seeing a huge herd of horses over to our left. And here we see a huge flock of wild turkeys. We have a herd of deer grazing in the field. This is the oldest house here in Cades Cove, and it was built by John Oliver, who moved here in 1818, and they think that this house was actually completed by 1820. He and his family lived here until the place was turned into a national park 100 years later. There are no nails holding these pieces of wood together. You'll see that he actually cut away so that gravity holds these into place, and then they're chinked with the open spaces with mud. So they have to redo this every once in a while. Bob carved his name here. He got fined $100. So if you come here and carve your name, know that you could be thrown into jail and have a $5,000 fine against you. Now imagine when you come in here that you have a huge family. All of the girls and the parents slept on the first floor here. And then you went upstairs, and that's where the boys all slept. Up here. Let's see if I can get up in here. I don't know. Oh. This is the loft where the boys slept. Imagine making every single one of these shingles by hand. And this chimney is held together with mud. That's it. And it has lasted the test of time. Every single log was hand felled and cut to fit. A lot of work. This is the Primitive Baptist Church. It was established in 1827. It was originally a log building, but then they replaced it with this building back in 1887. Interestingly enough, this church closed down during the Civil War because the people who attended this church were Union people, and the rebellion was too strong here in Cades Cove. So they closed the church down because the preacher would leave every once in a while, and then once the war was complete, they could start meeting again. There are some old graves back here behind the church. Like Lorena died in 1898, and Daniel died in 1939. A.C. Walker died in 1896. Anderson Sands died in 1871. Look at that. There's John Oliver and his wife. They're buried here. Is that somebody named Jolene that's buried here?
Looks like it.
Check that out. That's old. There's deer out there playing.
They're kicking it up.
This church was the old Methodist church. It was built for $115 in 115 days. There are a lot of ladybugs around here. So this is an old cantilever barn. Check it out. It's kind of bizarre. It's interesting how they used a cantilever construction to build this barn. Just found out the reason why they cantilevered these is because they didn't get taxed on what wasn't touching the ground. So this is an old grist mill that was used back in the day. Here's the old Greg Cable House. Pretty big. This here's a drive-through barn. This was the old Tipton place. I remember playing with the Tiptons when I was a kid. Well, the national park was fun, but now we're headed to Nashville, and we're about an hour away, and the weather is something else right now. Heavy rain, winds, lightning, and threats of tornadoes. But Brad says he's got it handled. He says it's all good. So we'll see how this goes. Wow, the vehicles in front of us are all slowing down because of this weather. Whoa, big lightning, right? Everybody's got their blinkers on in front of us. Their hazard lights slowing down because of the rain coming down. Holy cow, a truck just flew by, splattering a bunch of water on this side. Well, we decided to stop here at this rest stop to take a little bit of a break, but now we're gonna go again. Here we are coming into Nashville, Tennessee, and it is a wet one. We're gonna stay here for 2 nights, and hopefully we'll get some decent weather somewhere in between there. We have a Johnny Cash museum, which is really close to where we're staying. So tonight and tomorrow night we're going to take a break from the van, and we're going to stay here at the Omni National Hotel. So this will be nice. A nice break from the van. Here it is, the Omni Nashville Hotel. It's very nice. We finally made it to our room on the 17th floor of the Omni Hotel, and the views are absolutely fantastic. Be sure to join us tomorrow as we take on Nashville for not 1, but 2 nights. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Meanwhile, happy trails.